Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming and thank you for coming to share with us. I'm so happy that I have been able to actually meet and hear the story. I know we meet every day, but I don't know your journey. I don't know your story. And I always believe that the only person who can tell your story is you. Like, the only person who tells the story the right way is the owner of that story. And that's what this channel is all about. So will you mind telling me a little bit of yourself? Yeah.
I don't mind telling you a little bit of myself. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I think it's a pleasure to be given a voice, to be listened to. I think that's a good platform. That's why I accepted this invitation. For me, it is like someone is going to listen to me. My name is Delvin. Delvin Mungare. And I was born and raised in Kenya. I went to school in Kisii, Kenya. Most of my life I was in Bika. But my family, we kind of grew up all over the place. I was in Kereri at some point. I graduated from Kereri in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. And my sisters and brothers actually grew up and they went to school to, the Kikuyu land.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was in and around everywhere, really. Right after high school, my dad, you know in Kenya how you select schools and then you utapata A yako and you can't get in. You guys, I scored a straight A minus of 28 points and I never got into my college. And the whole time I was taking a IT program in JKUAT. Yeah.
Wait a minute. So you scored straight A's from Kereri, and then you did not. Which college? What course did you want to do?
I wanted to do medicine.
And then you never got that chance.
I never got that chance.
Wow.
And right after high school, even before the results came out, I was a student at JKUAT. I was doing information and technology.
So you were doing this course while waiting for...
And I was in the major college. I was in the main college in Juja. So I thought really I had a chance in getting in one of those big colleges.
Wow.
Bro, I did not.
Wow.
I was so disappointed. I think my parents were disappointed too. And, looking at it, my dad said, come to the United States. I'm going to get you into med school, whatever it takes. So he brought me to the United States. I didn't come to the United States and have that little bit of late time to, I'm done with high school. I have a year. No, this man got me in college right the next semester.
So you got here the next semester you were in school.
The next semester I was in school, yes.
Wow.
He drove me all the way to Wisconsin. He had already gotten me an apartment and I started life just like that.
So you started living by yourself?
Yep.
I believe you're around 17.
I was
18
17.
then.
I was turning 18 6 months after that.
How did that go? Because I know a lot of 17-year-olds in Kenya, they are still really living with their parents and even here.
Yeah.
You don't want to let your 17-year-old out of the house yet.
Oh yeah.
But how did that, you are in a new land.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it feels like you're empty.
Yep.
And then now you go live by yourself in an apartment.
Let alone live in a land full of wazungus and
It was
a shock. It was a shock. I remember when I came to the United States, the first thing my dad told me is, I'm gonna be your best friend. You have to take me as your best friend. You have to trust me. You have to talk to me. Anything and everything. I'd rather we butt heads until we come to an agreement than you go out there finding a solution. This is America. It's crazy.
Wow.
I want to be your best friend. And he did put the effort to do that.
Wow.
He would call me 40 times if I didn't pick up. The only way my phone would stop ringing if it died, or I picked up.
Wow.
Otherwise, he will drive all the way to Wisconsin, and it wasn't going to be a fun conversation. Hey, where have you been? Why are you not picking up your call? I know it sounds like he's being all over my space, but really, at the time, there was a lot of racism. And you know how colleges in America will send out a mass email from the chancellor's office to address something? Kids were dying of drug overdoses. My dad was worried sick that maybe now that I have the freedom in the United States, in college, I'm binge drinking, I'm throwing parties, I'm doing something. And he was so scared of that. He didn't say it until later, but at the time I couldn't see that concern. He will drive all the way to Wisconsin just to say, hey, are you okay? That's all I wanted to know. I'm gonna go back to sleep. He just came from a double shift, PM night, drive all the way to Wisconsin because I didn't pick up, and drive back, sleep for a couple hours and go back to work. Yeah.
Wow. Talk of parents being protective.
I wish I could ever be half the dad or the parents of my kids that my dad was. It was, I think that's how close he tried to get and still give you the distance that you need. It gave me that motivation that I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. And the other thing is, one of my relatives was also in college there. So if he doesn't get a hold of me,
He will
Shadrach better find me somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Shadrach better find me, or Shadrach has to say, where did you leave the kid?
You know what? You know that speaks so much into the love the parents give to their kids.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I had that advantage of having a parent that was very, very involved in my life.
And I know that's something.
Yeah.
That's something close to your heart.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
talk about college.
Went to college in the University of Wisconsin. Some kids in Wisconsin, by the way, have never seen a black person, so they will see you and they will be surprised.
Wow.
You know, I was just as surprised as them. So you've never seen a black person? Guess what? I don't see white people every day. So it wasn't a shock to me as it was offensive to the black kids in college. It wasn't offensive to me. So in the process, I ended up making a best friend who happened to be a gay guy that he was very protective too. I don't know how I made that connection with him, but if someone said something in the least discriminating, he would tell you off. He told one of my instructors once in the lab. He said, if you have to talk to Delvin like that, you have to talk to me like that. And I was like, ooh. Yeah. So I got that privilege to have a friend from the freshman year all the way through college. We became best friends. Thank you, Matt, if you ever get to see this.
Wow.
And I think that it set a line for me on how to see life. Because through his eyes, I realized that some people really don't know anything about black people. It's not racism, it's just they just don't know. They grow up in the rural areas in Wisconsin. They came from the farm, a high school that had 40 kids, and here they are. They worked really hard to get there. So you are just as confused as they are.
Yeah.
And that gave me the opportunity to be like, you know, it's not just about Black Lives Matter. There is another side of the story about it. So I got into the student government.
You did?
I did.
So you were in the student council?
I was in the Stout Students Association, yes.
Wow.
For
and
the entire time I was
being,
in college.
Not the only black, but blacks were not as many in your college. That just means that you represented.
I did represent.
You brought in
the
diversity in that college.
I did, yeah. So that was a big opportunity for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big opportunity for me.
Wow. Okay, now you go on to college.
Did my pre-medicine. After that, I did my basic medicine classes as well. Graduated with my bachelor's, and I came back to Minnesota. Here in Minnesota, I got an internship that I was actually attached by one of my professors.
So wait a little bit. What did you finish with from that college in Wisconsin?
I did two things.
Okay.
One, I did pre-medicine that's supposed to get me into medical school, and then I did the basic medicine part of it, which is literally just the first 2 years of medical school.
Okay.
It's like AP classes in
Yes,
high school.
yeah.
Yeah, so I did that as well. And what I got from there is something called applied science, a bachelor's in applied science.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So with that, what does that mean in terms of finishing your college? What is left to be able to finish the medical part of it?
Oh, I have to get into a medical school and do, it's called specification. So I have to specify in a program that I want to do. And then thereafter I can do residency and then become a doctor.
Good job. What's the journey there?
Yes.
Are you seeing that happening anytime soon?
Oh yeah. Here's the cap about it. My entire life in college, I never took any student loans. So I graduated loan free. My dad paid tuition out of pocket. All of it.
Girl, you are very lucky.
I was very lucky. And so, after my graduation, now I get the chance to use financial aid in college to get into medical school. And that is going to make my life a lot easier.
You know that financial aid is going to come through for you. And that's your next journey, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's move from the college life. I know you are like one of the few, very few people that actually own their own businesses, own companies in the US. And it's not something that you can just throw out like that. But it has taken you a journey to definitely have a company of your own. And can you talk a little about that, and like how did you get into this? What motivated you to to get the company, and what is it about even?
Oh yeah. So right after college, my internship ended being in a corporate office for Cargo. Have you heard about Cargo?
Yes, in Minnesota, right?
Yes, I worked in the corporate office in Plymouth.
Okay.
For a year. And it was one of the eye-opening experiences for me, because at that point you realize that for a company to run, you need to hire smarter people than you. And I think from that experience I decided that at this point you can either stay in the same position where you have restrictions. You cannot do this because it's somebody else's work. You cannot do this because it's somebody else's decision. You cannot do that because you need permission to do it. Even to do your own job, you need a lot of signatures for anything to be done whatsoever. And when you're being hired, the expectation is you make the place a better place than you found it. How are you supposed to do it if everything has to be, it's really fenced? So I decided, once I got there, I decided I'm going to get into a medical field and see how the bureaucracy in it is. It wasn't like an idea that just came to me. In college I had done a lot of research about hospital bureaucracies, because somebody will die on the table just because somebody higher up that's not even in the hospital did not make, did not give a green light for a doctor to do something. So bottom line, it just came to, what can I do to gain experience, to know what actually happens, qua ground. And at that point, I decided to work with staffing agencies, because in a staffing agency, you get all the patient's medical records. You get to send the help that they need, depending on what their providers say. As much as it is taking orders, you are in your own space to make the decisions about what they need, especially even for nurses to execute some things. They have to call the office, for the office to call the provider. So you just kind of get that medium of knowing both sides of the story, And I worked with an agency down in Minneapolis and Wilmington. And most of it was skilled nursing, so I did get a lot of the dialysis patients, the oncology patients, and I think most of them were also kids that had complications, born with complications. I think, that was my biggest experience. After that, I transitioned to another company where I liked the way they did things because it was African owned. I liked the way they did things. I didn't like the way. So now you have more, more room to make decisions because they
Yes.
really want the company to grow.
Yes.
But there is that talk.
Mm-hmm.
Why is everybody coming to the office at 9:01? Like 9:01.
Okay.
You know, the other companies will let you come in at 9:07.
Yeah.
After that, then they will consider you late, but they will still not send you home.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, what they needed to see is numbers. If they see bigger numbers, it means more money, and that's all they cared
That's all
about.
they cared about.
Here's what they don't care about. You're one person running the entire company. You're doing HR. You're hiring these people. You're recruiting and retaining these people.
Mm-hmm.
You're placing them where they're going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You're collecting timesheets and making sure they're sent by Monday at 5 o'clock.
Wow.
You have 8 hours to do that every single day, Monday through Friday. You have to take an hour break, by the way. Yep.
Wow. So actually, this really opened you up into wanting to do, because you did almost all the tasks in that office,
I did pretty much
which
everything.
then made you think, I might as well have mine.
No, at that point, actually, I wasn't thinking of getting mine. I was thinking, I don't get paid enough for this. So I started going back to the man and I was like, hey, can you pay us more? Because, hey, I have a bachelor's degree. I'm actually in the medical field. So if the provider says something that does not align with us, I have some really nice points to put back to them.
Mm-hmm.
And see, it's not just about the numbers. We have to take care of the people that we have in the field.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I really, really liked working in that company
Mhm.
because of the openness. It was more like family.
Mhm.
Of course, there is some boundaries that come with that kind of closeness.
Mhm.
Because now even the fights are personal. If
Yeah.
I fire you, it's going to be really personal.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
not going to be just professional.
Yeah.
So that came with that, and I decided. No, I think I got pregnant, and then I was sick, and he said, you can go home, take a maternity leave. I'll pay you for the maternity leave.
Oh.
I said, oh, thank you.
Wow.
But on the bright side, I put a friend of mine in a position, so I did not just leave him, high up and dry.
Mhm.
So he had some help. And after my maternity leave, I got a better offer in a different company, same job really. I need to remind you, I had just given birth, and I'm trying to just get out of the house for once because I had been home for almost 8 months. So I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
At this point, I decided if I could run somebody's company, somebody's entire company,
Mhm.
how much is it going to cost me to start my own,
Mhm.
do the same amount of work,
Mhm.
and see how much it tires me out?
Mhm.
So I took that leap of faith. Spent
Wow.
all the money I was paid on my maternity leave to start my own.
Wow. That was a big move. That's a bold one, right?
I think it was. At the time, it was my run away from my reality.
Mhm.
But now that I look back to it, I say I'm glad I got pushed to that point. Because that is the experience I was looking for. What I didn't know is I can't solve these problems, these people's problems.
Mhm.
Is there a chance I can do better if I started my own and see how these problems are coming up? Because my main thing was I need to break the bureaucracy. People have to be open to communicating and owning up to their responsibilities and being accountable.
Yeah.
If I can do that, there's no better way to do it than
Yes.
to start my own and see where my own shortcomings are coming from.
Yes.
So I started my own company.
Wow. So tell us a little more of the company.
Oh, my company is a medical staffing agency.
What's its name?
It's named Andest LLC. Andest LLC.
Understand.
It's just registered as an LLC because I intend to actually expand it into other areas.
Okay.
And the part that is actually in business right now is the agency, the staffing agency.
Okay.
What we do is we hire nurses
Mhm.
and aides, and we place them in different facilities in the states of Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa,
Mhm.
and we are still expanding to other places in Wisconsin.
So right now you're in operation in how many states?
4.
4 states.
I ran
Yes, sir.
everything from my house
Good job.
Hiring, I do it on the computers.
Good job.
And all interviews, I do them over the phone. I know it is not the same, but I think you